Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to NTV Europe's weekly chat show, Talking Point. I'm your host, Syed Neaz Ahmed. In our studios today, we have a lady who comes from a very distinguished academic background. She has traveled a long way. I'm keeping it a secret. And she was here in connection with some official business relating to our subcontinent. She is Dr. Meghna Guhathakurta. She is currently Executive Director of Research Initiatives Bangladesh, also known as RIB. She taught international relations at Dhaka University for some 22 years. She graduated from Dhaka University and later obtained her PhD from the University of York in politics. Her field of specializations is international development, gender relations, and minority politics. I'm not sure whether this is exploitation of minorities or political participation of minorities. Just a joke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm so happy that despite the cold weather and despite all the problems that you had to move from East London to South London, from South London back to East London today, you could make it.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show, and it's a privilege and an honor. As I always ask my guests from overseas, what brings you here again?
Well, first and foremost, this trip was basically at an invitation that I received from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, which had a training course on South Asia, but more specifically on the Bangladesh and Myanmar, both the states. And the Queen Mary's College at the University of London. They hosted the whole training, and we had speakers who were Myanmar experts, and we had speakers who were Bangladesh experts. The other Bangladeshi who was with me was Dr. Ali Riaz from Illinois State University, and he spoke on the overall aspect of Bangladesh. But I was asked specifically to relate to the issues of the Bangladesh-Myanmar border.
Which is what overlapped between Bangladesh and...
Yes, which had received quite important international attention over the last few years. And more specifically, I think because of my expertise, not only academic, but also more specifically, my organization had been involved in the refugee camps in Cox's Bazar districts for 3 years, giving some teaching the young generation of Rohingyas some of the early childhood learning. Right. So that's what brings me here right now.
Who are the Rohingyas? I know that there is a lot of talk about their background. The Burmese government does not recognize them as their own. Bangladesh does not recognize them as their own. And these are stateless people somehow sandwiched between the two countries.
Well, the Rohingyas is a word that is not unanimously accepted. But in Bangladesh, they do call themselves Rohingyas. But Rohingyas basically are Arakanese Muslims. And whether they originally migrated from the Bangladesh side to Burma, we know that, several years ago, there was no Burma or, there was no Bangladesh, there was no common border. So there was the Arakan, kingdom at one time. So there has been an intermix and an intermingling of the two populations. You're right in saying that the government of Myanmar has not given these people the kind of recognition in their constitution which they have given other ethnic groups. So, but they have been sort of persecuted over the years by military governments because it was an area of insurgencies, and there has been a lot of military expeditions, and and because they are Muslims, their religion, the practice of their religion,
predominantly Muslims.
They are Muslims, and they have been attacked. Their religion has been attacked. The mosques have been sort of forced down. Sometimes they are not allowed to go, and they have to pay taxes in order to get their daughters and sons married. So throughout these years, there have been influxes of Rohingyas into Bangladesh, and so they are from the Bangladesh side. They are called Rohingyas. They themselves called Rohingyas, and officially they have been refugees from the 70s onwards.
Right.
But some of them have been repatriated. So the remaining officially registered refugees in Bangladesh are now approximately 30,000. But there are more than 300,000 to 500,000 existing in Bangladesh who have come in and are undocumented. They live in villages, they're incognito, and because they speak the same dialect as residents of Cox's Bazar, they share the same racial features, and of course they share the common religion, so they can intermingle without being known for a long time.
Right, see. So but it's not just a huge number, is it? You said something like 500,000 or something, so they can be accommodated in Bangladesh.
Yes, well, that's the thing is that when you ask the Rohingya people themselves whether they want to live in Bangladesh, they usually say no, because they consider Myanmar to be their homeland, and given the option, they would return there.
That's natural.
Yes, so that is why even though they do live in Bangladesh, but they consider it to be a temporal thing. Some of the younger Rohingyas, of course, would like to be repatriated into a third country, which there is an option of doing. The UNHCR does have that for registered refugees. But for the undocumented workers, they are not, that is not an option for them except to take the illicit route, which is, spend their money and hire a boat and then take the unknown journey across to Malaysia, Thailand, even as far as Australia. And that is the traffic that we
ping-pong things that's going on. See.
Yes.
Either this country or that country. See, when I was in Saudi Arabia, I had occasion to meet some of the Rohingyas who were imprisoned in Saudi, and there were several thousand of them. I do not know. They were supposed to be deported back to Burma, but Burma would not have them. Bangladesh would not have them, and they would not like to go anywhere. There was a time when Pakistan wanted them, but they would not like to go back to Pakistan, because when they came, it was Pakistan at that time, so in the 60s. So it's a very unfortunate situation that between the hard rock and the sea, they don't know where to go.
Yes, the UNHCR has in fact called them stateless persons. They feel stateless, but they do not want to be called stateless, because they said our status, if they say that they're stateless, there actually won't be anywhere for them to go unless some country takes them in. So they said that we want to be given citizenship of Myanmar, and that is something that is in total that the Myanmar's government as well as the elites of Myanmar are currently in totally denial of. But
I think they won't give them the citizenship unless they can prove that they were there, or their ancestors were there before the British overran Arakan.
Yes, that is
that
true.
Was something 1822
but
or something.
They have agreed in counting them as citizens if they call themselves Bengalis. Now, Bengalis is a term that is...
That will become an ethnic minority.
It is not it does not acknowledge them as an ethnic minority. It is a group of people which are minorities, but it does not have ethnic status. But it is in Myanmar census, Bengalis can mean anyone who has gone from this country to their country and have been living there for a number of years. But many of the Rohingyas that I know of, and they have relatives across the border in Myanmar, and they have refused to be considered.
Why did it all happen? I mean, it's been on the back burner for quite some time.
Yes, it is. It is when states have problems with nationalities and are not recognizing diversity in their own country. We know that Myanmar is a country which is dominated by the Burman population, and although they have given
it's not the religion.
Not religion, no, no.
Because the Buddhists
there are also
supposed to be
Muslims
very,
in
very
Burma which
peaceful.
who have citizenship.
Right.
There are Burmese Muslims even in Akayab, in down south, in the Delta, and all over the country, and they have no problems in getting citizenship. Muslims, but it is the concept of that fact that these Muslims, Rohingyas have a history of rebellion, and they have the cultural elite seems to think that therefore they do not belong to, they do not want to belong to Myanmar. But that is not the picture we get when they come to Bangladesh. However, I think there is also a problem of, really the current government is undergoing transition, so one was hopeful that at least the National League for Democracy, Aung San Suu Kyi being there, the human rights spokesperson, would at least take care of them. But I think it's a matter of politics, of how much they have to surrender to current power politics, whether it is the army or whether it is the cultural elite, and how much they are going to concede on the Rohingya issue. And
what did you discuss at this training?
Well, it was a training for British diplomats, and recently we know that it has gained international attention, and so a lot of the Western governments are interested more in Myanmar, really, because of the opening up and the cessation of the sanctions, and the possibility and opportunities that Myanmar has to offer in terms of economy and economic collaboration. And Rohingya issue seems to be a festering wound, which unless it is resolved, at least the connectivity in the region will be hampered, you know. So that is perhaps why they were interested in knowing more about the region. We have been told that the UK government is very interested in this issue, and they would like to therefore know more about it, and perhaps it will assist their sort of policy making in that region.
What is Bangladesh's policy on this?
The Bangladesh government in the last years have been thinking of them basically. It has been hosting the Rohingyas for over 30 years now. So it's a protracted refugee situation, which is causing problems in the locality, because the local MPs have become, and the local population have been very anti-Rohingya. Whereas at first they welcomed them. They said that our Muslim brothers are suffering, so they welcomed them. But then as a population stays on, it drives the wage labor down, and all kind of economic problems come up. But at the same time, they recognize that they are very poor people. So at the level of the local people, they are very considerate, I think. But at the same time...
We need to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll definitely go back to Burma border.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us, and we'll be back after this break. Thank you.